it's leverage right there, right? You're building that relationship with that owner. You never know. Maybe in the future, he's like, look, forget it. I want to sell this multifamily. And maybe you'll be able to do like a seller finance. Like there's just so much that can come out of it. Like forget the banks, right? So building those relationships is key, truly. What was the money looking like?
Yeah. This is a 2-bedroom property. Price right there at the bottom.
It says $8,240. That was 1 month.
That was exactly 43 nights.
Wow, 43 nights. You
I
made
know.
$8,000.
Here's a higher one. If you want to go, now that I'm looking at this, is also a 2-bedroom property. There you go.
10,000. You made $10,000. What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the Legally Clueless Entrepreneurs Podcast. If you are new here, I'm your host, Shai Bibia. And yes, I named this podcast the Legally Clueless Entrepreneur because it is literally for all of us who are figuring it out along the way and thriving while doing it. I like to say you don't need to have all of the answers to start and finish a great thing. And trust me, there are times and there are days when I don't feel like I have a clue of what I am doing, okay? But you know what? I figure it out and I make it happen anyway. I'm here to share lessons, side hustle strategies, and business gems to help you elevate your life and business. Now, today's episode is somewhat of a special one because I'm interviewing one of my past clients. He has worked with me in a couple of my programs. And it's so crazy because 2 years ago, when he first joined one of my programs, he was like, I hope in the future sometime I'll be able to get on the podcast and share my success story. He was already thinking the end result, what he wanted his life to be like, even before he completed the program. So I think that's one of the things that probably contributed to his success because he already had that mind frame that he was going to be successful. I'm super excited to interview him because, for one, he gives me updates along the way about his journey, his success journey, but we have not really been able to get on a conversation to really dive deep into what has happened and transpired over the past, year since we have worked together. So I am super excited to introduce to you Gustavo Miranda. Let's get right into the episode. Bravo. Hey, so
Yeah,
good to have you. I said, so good to have you. It feels like it has been a hot minute forever, like actually virtually talking,
it,
connecting.
it it has been, but to be honest, it's just time has been flying so quick that I really don't realize it anymore. Like at this moment, I don't even know if it's what day it is. Friday doesn't feel like Fridays anymore.
You sound like me when I used to be a flight attendant. Literally, the days were like literally flying by. Like I had no clue what day it was. Like never ask a flight attendant what day it is. He, she, they don't know. Oh my goodness. So what has been making like what's been okay, there's so much that I want to unpack. I'm trying to really backtrack, right? So first of all, the last thing that you messaged me an update because you love sharing your updates with me along your journey, what's been happening. One of the last things that you said was that you had quit your job, right, to dive into entrepreneurship full time, correct? Okay. Now, for the people watching here, they may not know you. Share with us what did you do before, or what was your role? Your role, your title. Feel free to share who you worked for if you want to, but if you don't mind sharing who Gustavo is and what you did.
Yeah, I mean, long story short, I mean, I used to work for a plumbing company that did a lot of work within multifamilies here in Florida and actually out of state as well. Throughout, I had that job throughout basically COVID time, and at that moment, once they started sending us work from home, they needed somebody to work on their compliance for cybersecurity, basically just making sure that all their data were in place with a third party company that were giving us basically the directions that we need to comply, so we don't get any fine throughout that time. When I was there, I was basically brand new to the position that they switched me to, because that's, like I said, that's someone that they needed. They needed actually two people to work in that position, and it was a new learning journey for me. And I started getting guidance on working towards cybersecurity, but basically, where everybody reached, try to escalate their salary where the money was at. So where I was working at, I was basically not getting paid efficiently, for what I was doing. And until I started noticing, going on LinkedIn and creating network and connecting with recruiters. Finally got a position within JP Morgan. And I ended up applying with JP Morgan for two positions during that time, Shanice. And at that time, during that time when I was applying to those positions and for other companies as well, I actually started seeing you on YouTube and started, seeing your journey from the beginning. Because at that time I was actually still interested in doing Airbnb, but I just didn't know how, especially with no property, and the property was pretty expensive here in Florida. And well, a little bit further through it, I worked at JP Morgan, but not for cybersecurity. I worked for another department, thinking I was going to get the job in the other interview for the application for cybersecurity. Long story short, I was on the fifth interview at JP Morgan for that cybersecurity intelligence position, but I ended up getting the other application accepted earlier, which was a department that I had not too much interest in, only just to put my foot in the door. Well, uh, never had my cybersecurity certificate, because the other job basically put me in that position, and then I just learned through, the trenches. And yeah, working at JP Morgan, I realized like, well, my salary didn't increase very much. That was one. I Two, I knew where I wanted to be really bad, and mentally was like, man, I want to make this my career.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout working JP Morgan, I did my first 3 months, tried to put myself out there with the higher directors in a different department by actually joining their cybersecurity certificate. So I joined their school, and I had to be basically under a contract with them for a certain year, so I had to pay them back for school. So throughout that time, I was like, man, well, let's see how it goes. I started working for this department where I had no interest, like I said, and I started making a lot of network within the department and figuring things out, how the business actually works. Because the position where I was at, it was basically making sure that the compliance within the tech team and the actual government risk and compliance contracts that they have would stay on the compliance. Um, so I started seeing a lot how JP Morgan worked their business. Never really got the opportunity, or I did get the opportunity, but I started learning more about, your course, and then seeing how I'm like, man, this is life changing. Like, I know if I go this route, it will be actually, from what I see from beyond. Long story short, I really got opportunities within JP Morgan, and then not just that, outside other companies, while still, you know, going through your course and building this, trying to learn this, and then trying to learn something else in the meantime.
Yeah.
And then there was a video of you, Shanice, that kind of like hit me pretty hard. And it was when you left your job, and you had that video, and
Yeah.
you supposedly, you told me, you say that you cried throughout those moments. And then I kind of went through the same emotion trail, just like you. And I'm like, man, okay, well, I after so many things have been passing through my company now, which has been great. Yeah, I decided to leave the corporate job and not ever work. Try never to work to a 9 to 5, and just increase my company. So I left my corporate job officially in August,
In August
the
this
beginning of
year.
August. Mm-hmm.
And the job that you left was your last role was a cyber security analyst. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Cybersecurity analyst. Now, here's the thing, though. I know people listening to this podcast, they'll probably be like, "Man, a cybersecurity like that job title just sounds so cool." I'm not even gonna lie to you. And
Well,
so,
within it's broad, Shanice. It's so big within
oh,
cybersecurity. It's just there's so many different departments. It's really crazy. But it's pretty. The job that I have, or that I had, what I had to do, I took it as a learning huge experience, because I use it very similar to what we do now. And that's when, well, I'm pretty sure you already know how it works. So pretty much partnering up with other third party companies, and then going
mm,
further from there. But
wow, which you're gonna get
yeah.
into in a second. Thing. So that's amazing. So you're basically saying that you're using the skills and all the things that you've been doing in your corporate job, and you've now been able to try and use it to your advantage in your business. Is basically what you're saying. Okay. which we're going to get into
Yeah.
in a second. Now, what I was saying earlier was I'm sure a lot of people will be like, oh my gosh, why would you leave such a job, right? It just sounds so cool to be a cybersecurity analyst, like you're working for JP Morgan. Were you working remotely too?
Yes, remotely.
Wow. Okay. And you felt like what was it that made you feel like truly feel like, okay, it sounds like a cool job, it's remote, but I really prefer to work for myself and do my own thing. Like what was it in you that hit it for you that made you decide, okay, this is it, enough is enough?
I mean, honestly, when I start seeing my company, being able to beat my salary or actually almost any salary within the corporate or department that I was in by choice, because when I was doing a cybersecurity certificate with them, I was
Mm-hmm.
shadowing within a lot of departments. And then I was seeing like, okay, well, this is how it works over here. This is what the type of system that they use. And I started learning from, actually the big dogs within the company as well. And to a point that I started seeing, the consultation um, career wise of cybersecurity that they do within that department. Yeah, Shanice, I'm sorry, I lost track within all that.
I was saying, what was it that made you decide, even though, it sounds like you have a great job and everything, what was it that made you really decide, okay, I no longer want to do this?
Well, when I started seeing, honestly, the freedom, you know,
Mm,
that I can automate this and actually have no worries and be a lot with my family and spend time with them and then, create their freedom as well, which
yeah.
that was a big part of me. I wanted to be the person within the family because my family is not too big. And I see the struggles that they go through in our country, especially salary wise. It's not very much, especially for someone that can be a doctor and they really don't get paid a lot as they should be.
Mhm.
And especially within here, coming as an immigrant, it is pretty hard, especially when you start from zero.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you said no worries earlier. Well, with entrepreneurship, you'll definitely have some worries here and there. It's, the process is not always smooth and the easiest, but you said something earlier that was very true. That freedom, right? That flexibility, right? Like nobody really over your shoulder. Like you kind of dictate your own time, how you spend your time, how you're working your business. So that's
mhm.
so good. Now, you're currently doing short-term rental, right? Airbnb, correct? You're still
Yeah.
doing that. Okay.
Hmm.
What was
Well,
that?
it's a mix, Shanice, actually. It's still a short term rental, but also like a mix of midterm as well.
Okay. So we're going to get into that. How did you transition? Share with us, how did you transition from your job to getting into short-term rental? How did you like know what to
Okay.
do to, make the business work? And,
I
kind of
got
share
you. I
with
got
us
you.
your journey along
Yeah.
during that.
It's Shanice, this is something I don't really ever told anybody, you know, and I don't mind this to be recorded because it's like it's huge. It's a huge reason why how I got in. So throughout, man, my younger age, I was always partying, trying to live life the fullest. At the same time, I still had the mind of, okay, I still gotta keep going my career. I always had my entrepreneur mindset at a younger
Hmm.
age because I even sold like from Pokemon cards to Jordan shoes in high school, and then I started buying and flipping vehicles throughout high school as a
Oh
sophomore
wow,
year.
vehicles
Yeah,
in
and
high
then
school?
hmm
Oh wow.
yeah, I used to buy like the little Honda Civics and Toyota Corollas, which was like the main attraction that everybody usually buy because it's so reliable.
Hmm.
And that's what I used to do is just buy them, trying to find them in a low mileage through like social media, Facebook, and other platforms, and then just yeah, and then I did that for quite some time, and I'm actually in the process of doing that now as well, mixing it with my short term rental, and then yeah, uh, yeah, so I started learning a little bit more about Airbnb when I ended up getting a DUI throughout those partying moments.
Hmm.
And at that time, I was working for TSA, and for TSA, I was like I was only there 2 years, but I was, ranking my way up, and I took that very, very proud for where.
Yeah.
And when I ended up getting a DUI, and it was actually in, man, when was it? It was in October. Yeah, October was that month. Um, I ended up in a pretty bad place after that mentally. I lost my job. Not just that, COVID happened throughout that time. Well, I lost my uncle through COVID, two uncles, one in Colombia who was going through cancer, and then another one in Miami. So
Yeah.
that hit me even worse.
Hmm.
um, After going through that, I ended up finding that job for the plumbing company, doing AutoCAD in the beginning, and then working on the payroll after becoming working in the cyber security department. And I ended up getting that job in December, December 21st, actually. So it was from like not too long, from October 20th when I got the DUI until like, yeah, until I got the job on December 21st. And throughout that time, I also needed money. The place where I was living at, it was at an efficiency. You know what efficiency is, right? It's basically like
You said
a
an
house.
efficiency house?
Yeah, you know what
No,
that
it's
is?
like no, it's like smaller or like the.
Yeah, it's basically like a house that is connected. Well, they build like a little mini home on the side of the house, and then they rent that house. They rent a little mini home, and it basically is like a studio where you have like your
Okay.
closet, your bed, and everything.
Okay.
So I started seeing other ways on how to make money throughout that time as well, so I can get myself up and then pay all these fees that I had to pay. Yeah, trying to get my hustle back on. And then I started learning about renting the vehicles that I could buy and sell. And I was like, man, well, I started looking more about Airbnb because when I used to go to parties and go out to cities, we used to rent Airbnb as groups. So I was like, all right, well, I need to find myself a way to, either get a house and rent it out and then see if I can make money through Airbnb, which I was kind of already looking through the market to see how it works. I started looking around for friends to see who was actually kind of having the same mindset or the idea that I was having until I found a friend who was actually doing it in Sarasota. And I started asking him so many questions like, bro, how you doing this? Like, you live here in Tampa. Do you go over there and do it? Like,
Mhm.
how does it work? So he was like, well, I'm starting a second property. If you want, he's like, well, I need help with furniture, and if you want to make some money extra, you pitch in for this, and then, I'll give you a little bit of guidance on how everything works. So I started seeing, okay, and I did that so I can make some money and pay my fees in the meantime. Why not making money while you sleep, basically? That's when I started learning that.
Mhm.
And he was just doing it only in Airbnb at that time. So I only saw one single platform that he was using and he was depending on. And then I was like, well, I was throughout that time I was looking through YouTube and all these gurus, saying, oh, well, do this or do that, and this is the system that we can do. And then I ended up trying uh, a guy on social media that through other people through other people I ended up picking a person that was doing it here in Tampa, and he was posting himself on social media a lot and saying, yeah, basically you can rent properties without even owning it and this and that. I'm like, man, this guy's doing it in Tampa. Like, well, there is a way that you can actually do this, and I didn't have the whole blueprint or how to even start. So well, I then took his course. I was going to. He had like a $300 or $200 course for like 3 days. I was like, I wanted to, I didn't want to because I was like, man, I need the money to pay my fees for what I did. So I was like, no, I'm gonna be responsible not to. So, but and the last minute, he puts like, oh well, it's a free event in the last minute. So I guess so he can put everybody on his group and then so a lot of people shows up. But I ended up learning a lot through the steps that he was actually giving, but it was just way too much in less than 3 days. So it's like, no, I caught everything. I mean, through a video because I was recording it and then seeing it myself how it could be, and then I learning that he was using, another platform, and then but not real guidance. and how you can really start. So throughout that time, I'm like, man, I need to find and somebody like humble, somebody that like, I can actually connect and then show their story from the beginning. And then I just throughout scrolling around, Shanice, I don't even know how you popped up, to be honest. Um,
The
I
algorithm, the good
know,
old
I know.
algorithm.
I started, yeah, like I was just like, man, okay, well, who is Shanice? I have no idea who Shanice was. And then I started like, okay, well, she has a lot of story and everything. You documented yourself a lot. So I went from like the beginning and then worked my way up. And then I saw who you really were and how your process of life was. And I'm like, man, this could work. And yeah, I didn't have no money. I didn't have too much money. I had like at that time because of basically all the stuff when I was buying and flipping vehicles, I put that on also with a DUI, and then I had like one vehicle at the time and a motorcycle. And then the motorcycle, I was like, well, I'm selling it. Yeah, I'm done with this. Sold that, and then that was like, all right, well, you have the B&B course, and then as well you have the credit to build your credit.
Yeah, the
And I
business
had
coaching
no idea
program.
how to build a credit for a business. I had no idea, and I'm like, man. So throughout that time, Shanice,
Hey, high earners, are you ready to build solid business credit to better position your business for funding and grow your business? Well, I have some exciting news for you. I have some new coaching slots coming available 2025 where we'll be working closely together to help you implement strategies to build your business and corporate credit, to better position your business for funding and increase your business revenue. So if you've been thinking, you know what, I'm tired of being at this standstill, I want my business revenue to grow, I want to attract more clients, more customers, I want to increase my revenue, and I need that step-by-step guidance and blueprint, we'll be helping you implement proven strategies for growth that we've already taken a number of our clients through. So if this sounds like you, there'll be an application link to apply. Be sure to apply before coaching spots fill up. Let's make 2025 your best year yet.
I used to be like telling my family, I was like, yo, I'm gonna make some money. I'm gonna make some money without using my money. They're like, what? And I was like, yeah. I've been learning so much. Like this, it's possible to do it that way and to start my business. And then the 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 conversation was like, no bank is gonna give you that type of loan or credit, amount right away. I'm like, it's possible. It's possible. It's happening. It's people are doing it, and I saw it as well later on when I started working for JP Morgan afterwards. Yeah, Shanice, that's basically how I started with you, and then went on. I saw my motorcycle, bought those two courses, and I was just focused throughout the whole time until now, to a point where if I'm not working, my mind is just it's still working. It's still trying to figure out like how much can we.
Yeah.
So
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. So you first of all, I didn't realize that I didn't know that you did another course prior to, or another like program or something. You said it was short. It was just like 3 days. I didn't know that you did that before, but you were saying that you
yeah,
get all the information that you need. I guess because it was a crash course, maybe it was too fast in a short period of time, right?
mm-hmm,
Okay. And what was the
yeah,
difference with my course and program that made a difference?
huge, 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 huge.
By the
You
way,
you
people,
talk about.
I did not pay Gustavo to be here. Just throw that out there.
Nah, it's you give the sauce, you know. You give the sauce, Janice. And if you don't, how can I say, like, if you don't make it out on this course, it's because you're not even trying. That's pretty simple as it is. You get it step by step, like, and it comes, Every step that I do, it's just okay. Yeah, that's how it really is. They make the people who are taking this course very confident on how to talk when it is time to talk, and it was shown at that time, when you're getting a property, or when it's time to get a credit card and make a relationship with the bank, um, and then so on. Yeah, it's between your course and from what I learned there. Yeah, that person actually gave something to actually open my mind a little bit more wider.
Hmm.
But that white moment, I found you, and you just made it whiter. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Wow. So
you gave me what I needed.
that's good. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that you found value, like you actually found value in the course, in the program. That's always my goal, with my clients. Like I never want to coach anyone or have anyone, do my course and then not really truly get value from it, right? It defeats the purpose. And so how long would you say since you've joined let's say the B&B course, how soon after did you get your first Airbnb up and running? And also with the business credit course, how soon after, if you can remember, I don't know if you can remember, how soon after would you say you got your first like business credit score showing reporting and you started getting business credit lines?
Well, Shanice, so I bought your course October 2022. That's when I bought it,
Was that the B&B?
and
I think.
yeah, and then I didn't sleep at all. I just went through those videos over and over and took so many notes, to make
Yeah.
sure that I'm like, okay, I'm going for this. After that, then I bought your other course. That's like, okay, I'm all in. So my motorcycle, then I bought your course, and then I opened my business in October, the same time when I was taking your course,
Hmm.
and I opened a bank account with a bank account on December. And from December, oh man, I ended up getting it after 60 days. 60 days. I started getting credit cards.
Oh wow. Like business credit cards.
Mm-hmm. Business credit cards. And then from there, man, what time would that be? That will be already like in March when things happen. And then I didn't get my first property yet. I ended up testing grounds basically where I was at, and started renting within a 3 bedroom apartment. Was I had my friend, my roommate, renting the master bedroom that comes with the bathroom inside, and then I was staying. I decided to stay in one of the smaller bedrooms so I can rent out the other bedroom right next to me. Which then we started sharing the bathroom together. Who I was renting it to that person.
Mhm.
I started that. By the way, I opened my Airbnb account a little bit way too earlier for my business. I ended up opening it like in December or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, so right now it shows like, oh, he made like 2 years because I should make 2 years on
Mhm.
Airbnb,
Oh, nice.
and I started renting that room on May 14.
Mhm.
No, I'm so sorry. May 15. May 15. And on May 15, Shanice, right away, I started getting a client on May 17th. And
Wow.
then it just went up from there. It's just renting that one room. And then it got to the point where months passed and I was getting so used to how the money was kind of flowing in and actually literally making money while you sleep right next door. So
Yeah, pretty sweet,
I
right?
met, yeah, I met so many cool people. I mean, throughout the way, never had any really complaining if you're really doing your hospitality service correct, and actually liking what you're doing. I ended up meeting, yeah, people that work for airlines, where they were looking for a place to stay. I started learning about companies from FedEx, they're shipping them here in Florida, and there's a station not too far where they send them for academy, and then stuff like that. And then I was like, man, there's so many wide variety of clientele coming in and out,
Right.
and the need of just one room. I was like, wow, I was I was paying my own rent. But then I decided, I was like, you know what? This actually, I never really put it towards my personal. I kept it on everything under my business. And then
Okay.
basically what I was making through JP Morgan, the little bit that I was making, I was just putting it back in to the business.
That's
So I can get out of debt quicker before I start anything. And then, long story short, that room uh, ended up the apartment community where I was at. They found out on October and they sent me an eviction letter. And then my
mm,
roommate. He was like, my God, they're gonna kick us out. And I was like, no, just calm down. Just, I got it. And Shanice, that happened in October, but I decided to start getting an apartment from the money that I already saved, starting
Mm-hmm.
from May. I was gonna get an apartment in the same location on September. I already spoke to the main headquarters. I had already a Zoom meeting. I told them, hey, look, these is the type of clients that I have. And it got to a point, I didn't even have to really show them, but I already had actually, contracts already ready from another company.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't fully, ready yet. It was just like, hey, yeah, this is what I have, but it's not completely established. But then I had to know that. And then they were like, well, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, just check out the units, that you want to get, and then we go further. So I I didn't go further yet and pull the trigger. That time, I just took your technique, and I'm like, oh man, this actually works. All right. Well, I ended up deciding to look around and seeing better deals on how I can, profit more, and by paying a smaller amount. From there, when the eviction happened, I was like, I made up something so random, something out of nowhere. I was like, hey, look, I am so sorry. I told him, hey, look, I have a company that I basically, do this and that. But it was this client. Oh, the way how they found out, Shanice, they found out because a client that was coming from Germany, these two girls, they were renting my room at that time. They went to the leasing office and they like, yeah, I'm renting this room in this place, and that's how we they caught us. Later on, I was just like, I told them, yeah, I'm so sorry that these clients were not supposed to come to this address. It was supposed to come to another address. But on top of that, I was interested on actually getting these units in here, and then I showed them like the voicemail from the corporate that I was speaking to. Because I missed a voicemail from them, and I showed them that's proof. They're like, well, okay, well he does this and that, and then never really took their offer, went somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So I started officially an apartment unit on October 10th. What year is that already? October 2023. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
2023. At that time, Shanice, I had already a client. Even though the apartment unit was like, oh well, yeah, you just gotta make sure they don't come here or take us off from your system. And I was like, yeah. I already had a client staying there for a long term until the 17th, and then I just cut it off there. And then I had the same client who wanted to book the new property. And at that time, I just knew how to do it, how I was doing it, and I wasn't renting it fully. I was renting it, A and B, separate rooms. And I started doing it
Oh,
that reason, just
you mean
because.
you were renting it out to different people, and you were renting one apartment to different people, like you were renting out several rooms? This new place. So first of all, I want to jump in to say, right, uh, Gustavo did not get the technique about not really telling the people what you're doing necessarily from my course. Okay, just to throw that out there. And another thing is, so that's why I suggest when you're doing short-term rental, you want to do it the right way, right? You want to get that corporate lease so they know people are going to be in and out, right? But how Gustavo did it was very innovative in a sense, right? It's okay to start with like your own space, but of course, you still want to be careful doing it. You want to make sure that the apartment complex is going to be okay with you having people. You want to check with the rules, like how long you can have visitors and stuff like that. If you have your own house, don't be afraid to rent out a spot in your house. That's how I started Airbnb. I didn't think it was going to be a business or whatever. I was just like, oh, I need some extra money. Let me just rent out this extra room. I just thought it was just for homeowners who had extra space in their house or whatever. So that's literally how I started too. I just rented out a spot in my room, in my house, I should say, with literally an air mattress, and people loved it. Like what you said earlier, Gustavo, how you didn't realize how there was such a need. Like you didn't realize there was such a need for like literally a room in a house, right? And so I was blown away by that too. Like I explicitly stated, hey, you're going to be sleeping on a queen size air mattress. And to my surprise, people happily booked it. They were okay. They felt at home. I got 5-star reviews and I'm just like, oh wow, this is a thing, right? And so I said that to say it's okay to start where you are and start with what you have, right? Of course, you want to do things the right way to make sure that you're not really getting in trouble. But overall, It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to get the big, fancy, high rise condo to start. You can start simple. So I just wanted to share that really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I only did that because I also wanted to stay as a super host too at that time. And if you cancel, like, oh well, if you cancel, then you lose that privilege.
Right.
But yeah. So I ended up starting managing that property, like that individual. And the only reason why I did it, since I got it on October 10th on that time,
Yeah.
um, I only had a couple of days for that one client who wanted to extend their
Huh, so
stay.
October, the property got October. That this was a new property outside of the
Hmm.
one
A new,
outside of yours.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, a
Okay.
new property outside of that. And then that property started running. Yeah, I got it on October 10th. I was like, well, like you said, you don't have to start perfect. And I
Hmm.
told the client, I'm like, hey, look, there's a new property. Your room will still be ready. But yeah, no. And he was like, yeah, yeah, no problem. I was like, all right, well, come through. And that was my first actual direct booking. And that direct booker actually ended extending their stay all the way till February. So I was like, well, there's only one way throughout the time I can rent this apartment, and then just rent the other room as well. So once I had the other room ready, luckily the guest who rent booked it first, he was such a cool person. Made made the clients that were coming in feel at home the whole time. That helped a lot through my reviews. Other than that, Shanice, when I started taking it more seriously was after the year ended, and then January began, and I was like, you know what, I'm going with another property. I'm going to go all the way in. So then I ended up gaining another property February 10th again. And then afterwards, that one took me a while to get things going since I was working full time. And the only
Hmm.
time I could do is either if you have some PTO or whatever, flexible hours or after work.
Yeah.
Um, and mind you, I'm like, throughout the time, the whole journey is like, man, it's crazy because myself, I've never actually managed a property, you know, and this is actually big.
So talk to us
So
about that. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by it's crazy? You've never
it's
managed a
crazy, no,
property?
because it's nerve wracking. It's your even though I had my completely new. This is completely new,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I was getting already used to it, and like, okay, yeah, this is my policy. This is how it's gonna be. And then some people wouldn't like that, and some people like, yeah, that's fair. And I started
Yeah.
learning more about that very strictly when I was doing two rooms individually, because then I started seeing, you know, everybody's different habits, how I can maintain, this property with no crazy party, nothing that you hear in Airbnb that is really bad, and things happen. It's
Yeah.
just depending who you letting in, you know. So it'll be up to you on how you want to set up that setting. But yeah, after I got that property ready, I got it on January 10th, and then got it fully ready on February. Oh no, sorry, January 20. It took like almost a month, by the end of January, and then that property when I booked it fully, like renting it by itself and not shared, it got booked right away, and I started seeing the actual really high season on where we at, which is usually from November all the way to summer. I started seeing the two difference of like how much I can actually make with this one and how much I can make with this one. And it was basically a no-brainer, renting it full completely. It was actually the moneymaker.
So
And
rent it out fully
I
was.
ended up,
Hmm.
but yeah, renting it out was fully, don't get me wrong, I was making pretty good money renting just one room, and I could just already imagine, like, wow, if I could rent it all three individually, it would have been nice. But it's a lot of headache, you know. You're managing, so many people and owning one property, and yeah. So I decided to go, renting it all the way completely, and then I started seeing a difference, and I switched it over June. Yeah, I kept it all the way to June, and then I I started seeing how much it was coming in by June and July and then August. I was like, whoa! So this was way too much, and it was getting exciting at the same time. And I was like, well, mind you, it was this year already, and I left the corporate job on August. And the reason why I did that too, I ended up getting two more other properties. At point in Shanice, I have eight properties running now. Well, about to be eight
You have
who are getting
eight
it set up.
properties now running. You didn't tell me
Yeah,
that. Okay, big roller, high roller, I should say.
yeah.
Amazing.
It's been crazy, Shanice. Throughout the same time when I took your course too, I ended up taking like a multifamily course.
Mm-hmm.
And within there, I ended up learning how, how everything actually works. How they actually buy multifamilies and the whole, everything. And
Yeah.
then I started not just that, but getting in contact with multifamily owners. To
Okay.
a point, I'm actually now partnering up with somebody who has 16 units. He's the
Mm-hmm.
owner. He's right now giving me. We're starting with two. He wants to test me out, and then afterwards, take all 16 and or one. His house will be 17 since he wants to leave to Spain. And I was like,
Wait, you said
so
he's giving you two to test out, and you said, can you repeat that? The other part?
he wants me to manage his property because he wants to move to Spain.
He's moving to Spain, so he wants you to manage. He wants you to manage his 16 properties, his 16 units.
Yeah, his 16 units. He has like eight units in one building and another eight units in the other building. And then he wants me to also take over his house, which is not too far from those units. And it's really
Oh wow.
nice too. Yeah.
So, are you going to be doing short-term rental, or he's going to be having like long-term tenants, and you're going to be managing that?
So he was doing it the same way how I was doing it pretty
Mhm.
much, but I knew something that he didn't know. And then after that, yeah, he saw the difference, the profit, and then he found me because I'm a co-host on Airbnb, so I promote my market myself through there as well with my
Okay.
business. And he was like, "Hey, basically, I know you. I'm doing this. I'm deciding to do, and other stuff." And he knew pretty much the profit that he was making. I was like, "Well, if you want to be with me, I can definitely boost those profits up by a lot." And
Wow.
yeah, so now we're in that tangle right now. So I'm having my decorator making sure that everything is all good there, and then
You're
giving it a
decorating,
price, and then go
right?
further.
Like your interior designer. Okay, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
So you'll be kind of like a co-host for his like Airbnb properties, and you'll get like a profit of that as well.
correct.
That's amazing. I mean, that's a good like strategy. Like I said, it's good to be creative, and I'm so happy for you, by the way, Gustavo. Like that, like I said, I know you share with me here and there like your journey and your progress, but it's a lot that we haven't really dived into, and so it's my first time hearing about that, which is so amazing. And I want to say that that is also innovative. Like if you are able to partner up with a landlord who already has property, and they're like, "Hey, just be a co-host
Yeah,
for me." It may not be where you're getting the full profit, but at least you're getting it's leverage right there, right? You're building that relationship with that owner. You never know. Maybe in the future, he's like, look, forget it. I want to sell this multifamily. And maybe you'll be able to do like a seller finance. Like there's just so much that can come out of it. Like forget the banks, right? So building those relationships is key, truly. Like networking, building the relationships. And I'm so happy for you. That's amazing. I want to
thank you,
go
thank you.
back
Yeah, it's
also.
been a long journey.
Yeah, yeah. I want to go back also, if you don't mind sharing. I don't know if you want to share one of your months, like how much money you made in 1 month, if you don't mind sharing, like one of the high seasons, if you want to share, like what made
Yeah, I got you.
you
I
mentioned
got
you were
you.
surprised, you were so shocked, like you were like,
I
oh my
got
gosh, like
you.
I quit my job. Like what was the money looking like?
Yeah. Mind you, these months. I mean, it's either partnering up with other companies, right? That they stay here again, midterm prices,
Hmm.
and then they stay here for quite some time. But I'll give you something. Here we go. And this is a two-bedroom property for 43 nights. This is one of my biggest one. And then, where is it? Okay, here we go. It'll be that price right there at the bottom.
It says $8,240. That was 1 month.
That was exactly 43 nights.
Wow, 43 nights, you
I
made
know.
$8,000. And this was for the which property?
This is a two-bedroom property.
Two bedroom, and this is the one that you were renting the full thing out, right?
Yeah, the full thing out.
Like 8,000. Wow. Were you leveraging the automation tool that we talk about like in my program, right? To automatically know when
Oh
it's like high
yeah.
season and you don't have to do it yourself?
hmm
Wow.
Here's a higher one. If you want to go, now that I'm looking at this, is also a two-bedroom. property. Where is it?
I don't know.
There you go.
10,000. You made $10,000, and how many nights was that for?
50 nights.
You said 50?
Hmm.
And is this the Airbnb platform, or is this another like more midterm rental platform?
No, this was actually direct booking.
Direct booking. That's amazing. That's amazing. And so I know some people are asking or wondering if like Airbnb is dead. It's actually not dead. It's just like a strategy to it, right? And it really doesn't matter the area. Like people are always traveling. I always like to say, I probably said that to you before in the beginning, like people are always traveling for all types of different reasons. It does not have to be in a high vacation area. It can be in a small area. So, sometimes it's just good to think outside the box. But that's amazing. And what were you thinking when you got that first like high booking? Or I should
Oh
say
man, I
profit,
mean,
that profitable booking.
well, Shanice, to be honest, after all the roller coaster that I told you that I went through,
Mm-hmm.
you know that in here in Florida we got affected by a hurricane, right?
Right.
Not just once, but
Hurricane
twice.
Milton, right? Is one of them recently.
Yeah, and it did took effect a lot on our side of the coast, um, more down there. But yeah, that was something I was kind of like, oh man, well, I just got these two other properties on August, and I was getting them already furnished and everything all up by like mid-August. Mind you, Shanice, that these properties too that I was renting out, sometimes I'll be staying on them. So that way I'll be like also furnishing it. So that's how one reason how I started after I quit my job. I started doing it by myself pretty much and some
Yeah.
help too, so I can get things going. And then yeah, this hurricane came through. I started seeing people canceling, and I'm like, oh, okay, because
Wow.
of how it's gonna be here, and yeah, and I saw man September. I've never thought my month was gonna be like that. Luckily, it was still good compared to everybody else. But to me, when I was looking at my numbers, I was like, man, this is crazy. So it was not bad enough for me to actually still keep on going and get my other properties. So I ended up getting more after August. I ended up getting more on October, and things started picking up because demand was so high afterwards when the hurricane passed because so
Yeah.
many houses were flooded and family there. It was just crazy.
Hmm.
After then, I'm still working with other third party companies right now that want to put more families into homes. So I'm just trying to place them all as much as I can.
Yeah. Wow. So now you have partnered with insurance companies?
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. And how do you feel to be able to facilitate home?
Shanice, let me tell you something. I still don't. I'm sitting here. This is one of the offices that you kind of recommend to set up my business.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I still don't believe I'm sitting here. I still don't believe. Like I believe it because I manifested for so long
Mm,
when things happen. You know,
yeah.
um, I knew what I wanted. I still know what I want, and
Mm,
the people that I've been meeting throughout this journey, even investors, high investor rollers. I'm over here like, man, I need to get more. I don't know why, but I love competition, but friendly competition. But at the same time, it motivates me to go further.
yes.
To see what I can do. So yeah, I never thought honestly me renting a room next to me will be actually teaming up with multifamily unit, owners, companies from not just insurance companies, have been teaming up with like other agency companies that hire other employees for contract jobs. How basically I was doing on cybersecurity, which I saw too, which
Yeah.
I made huge connection through LinkedIn and other platforms where nowadays I still use that platform where they will still reach out to me asking, "Hey, Gustavo, do you need a job?" And I really don't, unless they're really paying really high.
Right.
And
That's
I actually make jokes with them. Yeah, and I use that to make jokes with them and actually be like, "Hey, look, I don't, but if I do." If I give them a referral, they give you some referral money to you for referring somebody,
yeah.
which can go pretty high. And at the same time, they were like, well, I need it for this city, or I need it for this city, or I need it for Tampa. I have people, he's like, I have people that are looking to hire someone, either to ship them from another state to here in Tampa, or yeah. So I was like, well, hey, I do this. Reach out to me. And then after that, it's just been booming.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so good. And you know what? I mentioned that in my intro earlier when I did the intro earlier. I said that I remember when that was one of the first comments you made within, I think it was the B&B course, the Airbnb course. You were like, I look forward to the day that I can quit my job and I can come on your podcast episode and I can say, hey, I quit my job and I accomplished this and all that. And I said that I really do believe that your success also contributed to your mindset, like your mindset shift and believing and already like manifesting it, putting it out there. Like the mind is such a powerful thing. Like people don't understand like what you put out there literally. It's the law of the land. It's the law of the universe, right? The law of attraction, the law of assumption. It is so real. Even the Bible, I believe in the Bible as well as a Christian. And the Bible says that, life and death is in the power of our tongues, like literally. So, we just have to be mindful of what we're speaking out there. And I admire that about you. From in the beginning, you knew what you wanted, you stated what you wanted, and you were dead focused on it. And here you are. You achieved it. And you're just starting. You're not even, I'm sure you're not like at your goal, but you're like, you're living your
I'm
wildest
already thinking. I'm already thinking founder position. Let me tell you
founder
that much.
position.
Yeah, to a point, manifesting it. Obviously
Hmm.
not now, but yeah, I'm gathering my team. Obviously, I'm not. I'm doing this, but I have a team behind me. I'm just basically the face. There's a lot of great people that I work with, especially that I'm that I have remotely. Yeah, it's been great, Janice. It's been a hell of a ride.
Yeah.
A hell of a ride. Not
Yeah.
thinking, like I said, I was gonna be here.
And I'm so proud of you, Gustavo. I really, truly am. I love seeing my clients win. And I truly admire that. You set out what you're going to do, and here you are. And you said something
Yeah,
earlier. You said something about team, right? When you say team, did you like hire like assistants or like co-hosts? Like,
I did, Shanice. So Shanice, within JP Morgan, right? JP Morgan, obviously they're a global company, right? They, I saw how everything worked, like I said, and I saw they were working with people outside the country, and that they will work remotely and work basically kind of like customer service within us. So I started seeing that they gather most of their employees in Manila, the Philippines,
mm,
and I was talking to them already. I had already a connection after work, and I started seeing how much JP Morgan was actually paying them, and then how I can, contribute it or see how they can help me and I can help them. And then afterwards, yeah, a connection and network. They knew somebody that works in Airbnb, and it's actually about I wanted to start doing remotely work. And
yeah,
after that, now I have people that used to work for those type of platforms, so they can actually help me with the policy and when it comes to anything broken or stuff like that.
that's amazing. That is how you scale and optimize your business. And I'm glad you mentioned that
Yeah.
because
Oh
that's
yeah.
one of
Oh
the,
yeah.
yeah, especially when you're growing like that, when you have, so many properties, it's almost going to become impossible for you yourself to manage them. Maybe you could manage them eight, but it can be a headache. Like somebody gets locked out. Like, do you really want to have to deal with that when you're at dinner, maybe? Or you're on the plane, maybe you're flying somewhere, you can't access. So it's so good to,
Mhm.
that's what I was saying. It's so good to implement the right systems,
Yeah.
strategies, and teams. That's what's going to help you make it successful. So that's amazing. I'm happy that you were able to figure that out and have people to help you so that way you can truly, truly feel free. And I think that's one of the things that entrepreneurs, even myself too, in the beginning, when I was just starting out too, it's a fear that new entrepreneurs have. It's like, oh, I don't want to hire help or anything like that because you're thinking plan B. You don't know, you're thinking that what if you fail, right? But you can't think about what
Yeah.
if you fail? What if you thrive? And one of the things that I would love for more entrepreneurs to understand is that hiring help is going to make the big difference, right? It may not be every area of your business, but those areas that can help you free up your time and really focus as the visionary in the business, right? Focus on the area of genius in your business. So don't be afraid to hire and outsource help, y'all. And it does not necessarily have to be expensive. Like Gustavo said, there's a thing as hiring in other countries. And I know some people may not like this because they're like outsourcing our jobs. But, you're giving other people an opportunity too, right? Like if you pay them well, right? And like I said, to each their own. But yes, hiring in the
Yeah.
Philippines is a thing. I don't know exactly the strategy that Gustavo used, but you can go to like I think onlinejobs.ph and outsource some things. You can get high quality, like really good people there. A lot of CEOs, a lot of companies like to hire over there. And I know it kind of sounds a certain way because it's like people are like, oh, they're taking the jobs away from the US.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I
It's
have two
pretty.
thoughts,
It's
two thoughts to that, but
but it's good to be Chinese. Like the text messages that I receive, like because you know, $5, $10 can go a long way, so long for them,
right,
and
$5 an hour, right?
yeah, and the gratitude that they give you, like
Yeah.
man, it feels it's just it makes you feel great. It's not just like oh yeah, I found them over there, and then it makes it. No, it's just the opportunity that yeah, like you said, you're giving them, and then sometimes I mean, when you find someone in the right way, that person needs to be better than you on what you want it to be, And I have my challenges with them, and okay, look, I do this, I do that, I give them, an example. I give one of them one of my units, and then I use the other unit, and then I see the metrics on how we can, who makes better. We do a competition. Yeah, surprisingly, they're like, yo, they're pretty good. They're really, really good. They know what they're doing. And then yeah, they actually give me like reports, and I still do my own work. The same. I still have that. Don't want to let it completely go. I'm
Right.
still there because you work so hard to make things so perfect and nice, and nobody's gonna love your business like you do. So yeah, so letting that part go is still a learning lesson that I'm going through. But once you find, like I said, the right people, man, that team can take you so 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 far.
Yeah. That's so good. And I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs can and small business owners can relate to that, right? Like your baby, you grow it. You feel like it's a sense of control, like you feel like there's nobody else. And it's true. It can be true. Like there's nobody else really gonna love your business or do it as well as you. However, there's some areas that truthfully other people will do a better job than us, like certain like technical areas. But as overall, I know it can be hard to let go. So, but I'm happy that you're learning how to do that. And doesn't it? How does it feel? Doesn't it feel like freeing to you?
Yeah, yeah, it's something. It feels. I try to put everything lined up like a corporate would do it. Like a big corporate would line up their departments, and that's basically what I did here. Each one has their role, and I'm still. It feels like I'm still working. Like I still do the same exact, well, same similar routine, but very very short now because now I have enough time to actually invest in myself mostly and keep going for my business and then seeing other possibilities on what I can do because I know this is my first business and my mentality still is within cybersecurity, and that's the reason why I wanted to be a founder for this company because I want to start something else. I know you need to really be good at one thing first before jumping into others because
Hmm.
multitasking is good. I did it trying to corporate life, studying for cybersecurity, shadowing other departments, and building a business, and no family time, or a little bit of family time, honestly, but not as much as it was before. But yeah, Shanice, it's been a roller coaster all the way.
Yeah. Wow. Overall, how would you say your? This is what I wanted to say. I wanted to say you're mentioning all these things that you're learning from corporate and incorporating in your job. And I probably mentioned this earlier. Y'all, I want you to really listen to what he's saying because a lot of you guys are in jobs right now. You can literally use the skills and the lessons you learn from your job and transfer it over into either starting your own business, whether that's consulting, right? All the expertise that you have from a company or the skills or talent, and you can literally use it in your own business, right? Whether that's freelancing, whichever, for those of you who are trying to figure out what business you could possibly start. Like think about where you are right now and think about the role that you're playing in your job that's paying you. They're paying you for a reason because you have some skills and you have expertise. Use that and start a business with it, right? Start consulting. You don't have to necessarily jump and quit your job right away. You can build that business until you see it fit to quit that job. And if you feel like it's the right fit for you to go all in and quit that job, then by all means. But I just wanted to share this to say that a lot of times we may think that we have no skills or talent and we want to start that business, we want that freedom, we want that flexibility, but we don't know what we can possibly do. Start with what you're currently doing, what your job, your employer is paying you to do. So I'm happy that you mentioned that. That's good. So, how has your life evolved since stepping away from your 9 to 5 and fully embracing entrepreneurship? You probably mentioned it somewhere along this podcast, but wanted to ask you straightforward.
How's it been so far? I'm sorry.
Yeah, how has your life changed
Um,
stepping away from your 9 to
I mean, honestly, more freedom. I still talk to some of my friends that, they're also on the corporate side working 9 to 5. Some of them are working less hours due to the type of jobs that they have. Well, their hours are kind of the same as a little bit as mine, depending on the position, but you still have a lot of responsibility for that type of position. Like you said, depending on the type of skills you have, you get paid for what you get paid for. But honestly, it's been great. I mean, I still have so much flexibility. I still talk to my friends that are within the same type of career that I was, or not the same career that I was. They still can't believe, like, man, how I am doing this now because I didn't tell that many people when I started. I only told, the really close friends that that I thought, they would actually be interested in it, but none of them actually were. So I ended up doing this by myself, and when I was explaining things and manifesting things, a lot of people thought that, yeah, he's talking crazy stuff. That ain't gonna happen. Or yeah, well, they will ask you, you have some people, oh, where's it at? Where's it at now? So I ended up not telling too many people afterwards. I just kept things to myself, and then just show action afterwards, and then let them know, hey, look, this is what I have now, so they
Yeah.
can believe it, because it's honestly what you're teaching. It's life changing for just anybody. Anybody. That time that I have now, I mean, again, with my family, which is the most important thing. I was able to bring my dad from Texas and actually work in this project as well, with me. So it's kind of like a dad and son type of project family going on here. And yeah, and I'm giving others, like within the family, a little bit, making them a little bit extra money on the side if they need it. So I give that ability as well when it comes to, like, let's say, um, cleaning, you know, or decorating as well. I started like that in the beginning. So I saw what it could, what this could do, and then change afterwards. Yeah, I still can't believe it myself. Like I said, even when I talk to high entrepreneurs as well, that they're doing so many different things, and I've been meeting, like, so like I said, other people that do crazy things, and I'm like, man, how do you make that much in a month? What's 100K a month? You don't hear that on a corporate job too much, on how much you can make that. And that's a lot, for somebody that, that started either getting paid from the bottom, either delivering pizzas, you get paid like 35K, 40K, a year, and then going up that route. I see that this can, yeah, change anybody from that perspective, and then seeing like, wow, this is, to me, it's still new money. I don't even know. I can't even count how much is coming in. I just kind of like, oh, no, just keep throwing it to the business. I'm not looking at it. Nope. I stay out with the same money that I left with the corporate, and I still do. I only touched it when I needed to.
You said you only touch the business
Oh,
money
no.
when you need it.
Like, yeah, no, I'm talking about like the business itself. It's
Uh huh.
actually, I mean, it's helping me at this point actually like live my own life too, and then keep on
Yeah.
building. But the money that I left when I was working for J.P. Morgan, I still pretty much have it. I haven't increased it or anything as at the moment yet because I haven't even. I've been paying everybody else except myself right
Hmm.
now. But I'm at that point where it's gonna happen later on. Yeah, because my business is basically paying my lifestyle.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's amazing. Okay, so now I got it. Your business is paying you. It's help supporting your lifestyle, and the money that you saved up from your job, you still have that. You didn't have to really touch it because your business is paying you. Is that correct?
correct. Well, lifestyle. So remember, right now, I basically like all the money from the business. What I do, I get more properties. So right now, since I was staying in the beginning from that efficiency, I jumped from that efficiency to like all the properties that I get. I would stay in it and then fix them up. And then I'm still at that point. So the lifestyle is still there. Just I guess new. I try new properties every other month. I move out, and yeah, so it's paying for what it needs to be paid at the moment because I want to make sure everything is getting paid for. My team is they're good. They
Yeah.
I prefer they to come first than myself at the moment until it's time to a little bit more money comes in, and then yeah, then I'll pay myself.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. So you're growing. You're in the growing stage. Your business is making money, but you're in the growing stage and you're prioritizing, which is good. Which is good. You're
Yeah,
setting up a structure that gives you support, and at the same time, you're profitable, gives you support, you're paying your team properly, and you have that cushion. So that's amazing. Awesome. And so what would you say is the thing that surprised you most? It could be negative or it could be positive, right? The thing that surprised you most about full-time entrepreneurship.
every feels like not every day. I mean, so far what I've been experiencing in the beginning, every day was completely different because I mean I was just trying to see how I can maximize my potential and increase fast. But the reality, it was just step by step. The the good about starting as an entrepreneur, I see that what I've learned from other companies, I can do it here myself as well. And from the experience that I've learned and try to make it my own, it was a first because I usually just did it for another company instead of myself. So doing it this way, I learned a lot, and I'm still learning, um, especially with like policies with other third-party companies, and then try to make a right agreement between us. But there hasn't been no bad experience other than that eviction that I ended up getting. But other than that, I mean, yeah, no bad experience, Shanice. Everything has been great. I mean, so far, luckily, and yeah, I don't even know how else to explain it. Like I said, I still don't believe like I'm here.
That's amazing. It's a dream come true. And
Yeah,
yeah, looking back, what are some of the lessons you've learned that you'd want someone starting their entrepreneurial journey to know? Like what are some of the things that you'd want people to know, people who are starting out?
you said this a lot, through your course too, man. Do your due diligence. Um, before jumping in, find out if you really want to do this. I mean, the money is good. The money is always good, but you always gotta find out too. Think a little bit ahead and figure out if it's actually gonna work out for you. If that's what you want in the long run. Yeah. Once you do that, just jump, jump. Don't wait. Just jump. Don't have that big if carrying around your bag. I mean, to me, like I said, I told some people in the beginning, but honestly, do your own, and then afterwards you accomplish stuff, prove it. You know, that way you don't have bad negativity going around for those who are envious of your ideas or anything like that. But yeah, once you do your due diligence, yeah, once you just jump. It's scary. It's never a perfect moment. Like you see my stories, and I'm sure there's other people's crazy stories as well. But this is mine, and it's still happening. So um, I know a lot of people, like you said, you need to have that mindset. It's it's possible if you want it to be possible. Once you have that mindset, like I said, yeah, again, just jump in, go with the trenches, see how it goes. If it goes bad or well, you find a way to, beat that part and then keep moving forward. Worst comes to worst. hey, you still have your life, right? Don't kill yourself or anything like that for something that didn't go the right way. Things happen for a reason, and you try again. Keep your head up. Try again, but try. That's the most important thing once you do all your due diligence.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. And so, what would you say are your goals for the next stage of your entrepreneurial journey, and how do you plan to keep growing personally and professionally?
So future wise, I mean, I do want to be one of these owners that have multifamily units, so that way I can still keep on growing the same way how I grow, and then run my own business in my own building. Because obviously that's more benefit for you. But afterwards, I want to reach. I do have a goal already for next year. I want to reach. I want to. I know. Yeah. I mean, in one year, I made eight. I got 8 properties. I want to do at least get to 30 by the end of next year.
Yeah,
If everything goes how it should be, and then keep on going up and see how far I can take this. And then I met other entrepreneurs as well that are the same industry that I'm doing, and they have like 400 properties, and I'm just like, wow, how are you doing this? What's your net profit every other month? Like, so it's still a learning experience for me being an entrepreneur. This in this type of level.
that's good. That's good. Are you using anything to like track your? Do you have anything that you're using right now to track your goals, like your calendar, to track your progress and your milestones?
Yeah, do I actually have it? Well, it's not in front of me right now, but it's on a board that I have. I keep pretty much old school still. So when I wake up, it's still right there. Yeah, I still have that. I still have those goals that I want to do and accomplish, so I can not forget and keep on manifesting from what I wanted from the beginning.
That's amazing. That is so good, Gustavo. This was such an amazing episode. Thanks for sharing all of your wins, your struggles, your downfalls, all of that. Yeah, it was so good to just really catch up with you and just learn about your success. And I'm so, so, so proud of you. This was so good. Is there anything else that you want to, before we close out, anything else you want to share with the audience? You shared a lot, but if there's anything else that you
I
want to share.
mean, no, yeah, and that's what I wanted to do, Shanice, because not many people tell you the truth, behind anything. you know. Some people keep it to themselves and they don't gatekeep it, and then it's how
Mhm.
it is. But this is the truth. That's how I started. People have better opportunity to start better than I did. Yeah, even if you think you're not in the right place and you have something you want to accomplish later on, keep that, manifesting on what you really want, even if you're in a bad situation. Because money is really not everything, but it's something.
It can get
But
you what you
yeah, no,
want.
that's yeah, you can get, but it's not everything. It's not really everything. It just gives you
Yeah.
the ability to free others.
Yeah. That's good. That's so, so good. Well, Gustavo, again, I'm so proud of you. Like, you dropped some surprises on me today, some pleasant surprises on me. And I'm so happy for you and your continued growth and your journey. And it's just amazing. I just love seeing and hearing you win. And I pray that everything works well for you, as works out well with the partnership and the units and the growth. I know that's gonna grow into something amazing. So I'm so happy for you.
Thank you, Shanice.
Absolutely. This was so good. Thanks for being on the episode, Gustavo. You finally made it after 2 years.
Yeah, I did. I did, and this is my first podcast.
Oh, wow. It's your
I've
first
never done a podcast. I was
Wow.
actually kind of like, man, this is gonna be a little bit weird, but I mean, I think it's still the same thing as a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, exactly. Just chatting.
Hmm.
That's all that it is. Yeah, you do good. And I think you probably have more podcast episodes to come after this, too.
Yes, later on, yeah, I have a little trying to create a little 30-day content creation for every other month. See how I can also automate that and go
Awesome.
further.
Awesome. All right. Well, good talking to you.
All right, Shanice, take care.